ready to jump into the action. Doug, Simo, let's find out if we're going to see Complexity surprising everyone and making it out as the top seed from their group.
Thank you, Bach. Simo, I think one of the other things worth mentioning here is, I think it was during one of the open qualifiers, FE's had a watch party. One of the things that he shared a little bit of insight into how that roster works behind the scenes is they're a team that is never down and out, right? Like, they drop a map, they drop a big map. They are resilient and they're confident in the way they play the game. So Gen.G may have just gotten a bit more than they wanted out of Complexity. But again, going onto this map, going onto, as Bach put it, Shawn's playground, I refuse to believe that Gen.G are just going to roll over here.
I want to talk a little bit about how Complexity play on the defense. That's where we're starting off. One of the saving graces here for Gen.G, if we remember up against T1, yeah, it was a 13-9 finish, but they would triple peek through the middle and just start chaos. They would just ensue chaos. So if Gen.G can control that chaos, they'll find themselves in a positive trade, and they'll find themselves in a similar half than what we saw Complexity dominate with in that first half. But as we're seeing this pistol go underway, it's not starting off hot, but MkaeL down to one! MkaeL dominates with the clutch!
Oh my gosh, that looked so good for Gen.G, and then it looked so bad for Gen.G, and then MkaeL just steals that round away from Complexity. And let me break down a bit more about what I mean. Gen.G got on the site, they had everything they wanted, they were able to get the opening pick onto Heaven. Complexity sent two members rotating all the way around through A-Long from the attacking side, and it was XP3 and it was ohai. You saw members, it was MkaeL actually, who started to sniff that out. He went to go put a dart out. Meanwhile, Jonah P just rips through Gen.G, and you're like, well, crap. MkaeL's the only one left. He doesn't have much else to work with, but he's able to handle the pressure from opposite sides, isolate gunfights down to a 1v1 3 different times, and deliver. The guy played that perfectly. Gen.G desperately needed that to build a little bit of momentum. We've talked about Ascent and how momentum-based this map can be. That was exactly what the doctor ordered.
Wow, I was like finishing up my thought. I was like, yeah, they're gonna take care of MkaeL. I could sit pretty and close that one out. Of course. You know, I just want to say, like, this is no flame to MkaeL, but he is the lowest clutch provider for Gen.G. He's got the lowest statistics in clutching for Gen.G. That is just insanity to think about. The fact that he was able to bring out that 1v4 scenario and close things out, they needed him, and when they found him, they found success. But we're now looking at a push in towards this A site.
Yeah, take a note, Complexity did force up a bit. I've seen some stingers, I saw a Guardian as well. So this is a competitive round, and they're certainly making it a bit costly, but Shawn on his playground dashes his way in. He's going to get onto the site. Jonah P is there. He's going to get taken out as well. One member left on the side of Complexity, and it's going to be AGM with the Sheriff. Gen.G have firm control of the site. They're going to get the spike down as well. If the last round taught us anything, is that it's never over until the fat lady sings. So you can't count AGM out here.
I think it's important to know that, well, let's hold that thought for a second. Down to a 1v2. Within the realm of possibility, 1v1s are definitely possible here since both Gen.G members are a little bit split up. But now that they hear the window, it's going to allow player one to maybe have a little bit of a better peek. But AGM actually doubles back. He's looking for exits. John is going to have a crossover, and player one's going to try to help him out. I like how AGM was hiding behind his turret. Player one finds that frag. A little close. Definitely a little close, but considering the force up, Gen.G have another round that they can kind of sit tight on. The point that I wanted to finish is that the defense favors Complexity. They like to play on the defending side a little bit more than they like to play on the offensive side. But against T1, that didn't really matter. They still dominated T1 on the attack. So there's still a possibility here where once we swap to that second side, that Complexity are still going to be relatively comfortable. Remember, they picked the side selection. Maybe they want to finish strong on the side that they are most comfortable with, and that might just be the attack.
Might just be indeed. Gen.G once again posturing towards A. Sharky's going to get a chance. He's going to get tagged up and forced back. Drops the Leer to help provide a bit of a buffer, but is pushed off of that initial spot. Oh, look at the members' complexity start to rotate over.
That's a huge commitment of resources, but we have to recall that considering complexity are on the pistol here, stacking your pistols together is a strategy. It's not the only strategy in the book. You can still run the standard 2-3 split and then maybe have a point person in the middle. But stacking your pistols together is usually probably one of the best strategies that you can have to ensure that you find a pick. And unfortunately, AGM goes wandering. He's going to get taken down, and now it's the B-side hit with Gen.G in a lot of control.
Yeah, that turret's going to get taken out as well. Complexity still has plenty of personnel to work with, but they're all going to be coming in from the same side. Greemon! He had that angle. He's able to get 3. Yes, he got traded out by XP3, but there goes that push that Complexity was bringing over. He actually could have done even more damage, but Complexity down to scraps this round.
They might even look to try to save this Phantom. I mean, they're going to have a buy round in the round upcoming. They've got full loss bonus, max loss bonus that they can work with, so that's why you see even still the Sheriffs come through. They're sitting quite fine in terms of the economy for Complexity, but Gen.G, considering they've had this buffer, the force up didn't quite work out. Sharky's looking for exits with the Phantom, and it's ultimately what you want to do. You're going to buy weapons next round anyway. We'll see what XP3 decides to do. He's looking for exits as well. I think he sees somebody just temporarily. He's going to have to look a little deeper in the defender's spawn. We'll see if a shot's going to come through. It's not. Gen.G cleanly walk away with that one. There was a couple of moments where Complexity could have taken out a member or two. Gen.G, they hold on. Now we've got the first gun round for Complexity. This is where it all boils down to. This is a round that Complexity need to win to find some momentum. And
I want to say it was AGM, actually, that was sitting in that same spot yesterday that we just saw Guimond in. And while it didn't play out exactly the same, the devastation was equal. Now they're going to be in full guns across the board. Complexity is going to be buying down pretty low. Ohai down to nothing, but he's going to be bringing an operator and full armor into the situation. Meanwhile, Gen.G showing an early presence towards B. For Complexity, they have utility there, right? Killjoy has a turret and a nano swarm sitting around there as well. That's going to be spotted out early on, though. And as soon as that comes out, you see members of Complexity start to rotate on the map.
This is a standard defense. You usually want to have your sentinels, or I consider Sova a half a sentinel. You want to have them located on the site. Unfortunately, Jonah B walks right back into the Hunter's Fury, and Win find the pick onto AGM, so not looking so good for Complexity here. They're down to 3. They've got to retake the site, and Gen.G have complete control of it now. It's unfortunate that the Hunter's Fury found a player back site, and then it was just the brute force that pushed in. But Sharky's going to find an early pick in this retake, so it brings it down to a 3v4.
And they have the operator in the hands of ohai. It's certainly not out of the realms of possible. Oh, but that's such an aggressive blind look to go through the smoke like that. Fortunately, Sharky was there with some cover. Shawn's going to get tagged up, and he's going to be forced back. The dart is going to give away XP3's position with 19 health as well, but you see members of Complexity continue to push the matter forward, or at least try to trap them in, but MkaeL on the flank is able to get one. ohai trades it back out, and they're going to get out. The attempt was to block them in and let the spike do the damage, and it looks like might be able to get... Yeah, they get... Oh, no, they didn't. Shawn gets taken out.
Oh, no. That's so bad. Okay, so they did the damage. Likely still going to be able to buy up, because think about it. XP3 and ohai, they escape with their life. They are going to buy some armor, some utility, and maybe be able to drop for somebody else or buy something additionally. It looks like that's not going to be the case, and Jonah P and AGM are going to be stuck with some scraps, but still, they're going to try to make this round work. If they lose this one, that's 5 rounds in a row for Gen.G, and that's going to turn into a difficult spot for Complexity. There's a possibility that we finish this one 10-2. There's a possibility we finish this one 9-3. And Complexity will have a lot of work to do if they don't sneak this round away.
Pretty similar Killjoy utility out of AGM. That alarm bot right up the middle to ensure that at least if somebody does push up that way, they have full knowledge of that. They're investing a lot of resources around the middle of the map, which is exactly where all of Gen.G is. ohai with the operator. Initially, at least, not going to get her chances. It looks like going to be pushing the matter up into true. And Sharky with the Sheriff not putting anyone behind bars this time around.
Down to the 4v5. Gen.G have just, Set up the smokes, set up the utility, push in. Pre-fire everything. Make sure that there's bullet holes in every part of the wall. No room is safe from Gen.G. But it works out. They find a lot of space, and it scares Complexity off. We have to remind ourselves that, of course, the weaponry is, to some members, less than ideal. Nano Swarm to clear out the left 50, so they know that there's at least a person playing right. XP3 is going to find one player. One's holding down the side, but guess who's coming in from the side? It's Shawn. It's down to the 2v3. They still have an op. They still have a Phantom. Complexity inching their way forward. They know players playing down below. The shot missed from ohai, which means once again, they're going to have to back away. They don't want to deal with the spike. Complexity playing very safe. And compared to what we saw against T1, I feel like this is slightly a different roster. A little bit more respect given to Gen.G. But more so, I think it's the fact that since they've lost 5 in a row, they really want to hold on to stuff like this. They don't want to slip these rounds away if they can help it. And so that's why they're saving the weapons here. But Gen.G, just some good old fundamental Valorant pushing in, pre-fire everything, and they find many looks onto sites.
Well, and you mentioned how important it was, how important that round, excuse me, was for Complexity because of financial implications. It looks like they're going to be able to buy up all the way across. AGM has 4,700 credits to work with, so you imagine he'll be bringing a little bit of firepower to this fight as well. So an important rifle round for Complexity for a number of reasons. The primary one being Gen.G has just been able to do whatever the heck they want here on the map, and if for nothing else than momentum and you know, kind of shaking what's been going on, you want to get on the board. That is always, the first one's always the hardest one, the biggest one, especially when you're at a deficit like this. So Complexity, at this point, it doesn't necessarily have to be pretty, but they've just got to get onto the board here. The problem is, Gen.G has plenty of ultimates to work with as well. They've shown really complete dominance of all areas of the map, and Complexity haven't been able to stop anything.
So this is, to some extent, the third gun round in a row, as we are in a little bit of a pause. We'll get that all figured out momentarily. But this is the third gun round in a row from Complexity. The fact that they've been able to save at least 1 or 2 weapons every round, they are really just trying to hold on to their economy. And I'd imagine there's a momentum swing somewhere near the end, but this is still not a good position to be in. Down 5-0, every round matters. If you get 12-0'd and a half, bro, your pistol is life or death. Now, there is still going to be another map after this if Gen.G managed to take this one down. But I'm imagining Complexity are willing to play the battle of attrition. If their defensive side is a little bit weaker and they're more comfortable on the offense, statistically it doesn't show that. But if they're choosing the defense first, it's either they're choosing the defense first to have an impactful half, which is obviously not happening, or they're saving attack for last because that's where they are more comfortable. And they are trying to see how many rounds can we stop Gen.G from getting and counter that in the second half. We'll have to see. Only time will tell. But so far, Gen.G are sitting very pretty with a 5-0 start.
Jonah P trying to get a little bit of information across the middle of the map. Not a ton seen. There is some presence there from Gen.G, but most of it is spread out between the middle and the A site. Sharky goes aggressive. He's able to get one. The Hemisphere is going to be used to try to break up some of this onslaught that's coming from Gen.G. XP3 is going to get a chance as well, but Win getting the best of him after the the dash onto the site. Jonah P is going to try as well. Sees one, but not able to take him out. A 4v3 in favor of 30
seconds left.
Gen.G managed to make it onto the site. At least Hunter's Fury did some damage, but now the spike is being planted. Lockdown's going to make things a little bit more difficult for Gen.G. But think about it. Complexity are committing everything they possibly can. Ultimates to push them out. Teleport likely going to be coming in for the defender spawn, but player 1 is down. And so now Gen.G have to rethink and re-strategize. Are they going to fight for the defusal of the spike? There's a smoke down. There's a nano storm to stop them.
Oh.
But that's going to be Iman that'll find the shot from the defuse. There's one more player remaining. Sharky sees him, but they are defusing Complexity. They stop the bleeding with the band-aid, lose 2 members in the process, and Win escapes with his life. But look at the credits. He's sitting at 8,400. He's fine. He's chilling. He's okay. The rest of the team will be okay too. So a lot more rounds need to come out from Complexity if they want to nullify the economy from Gen.G.
Yeah, you figure the boys over at Gen.G, as far as finances go, they're not hurting. They're not going to be hurting anytime soon, really. They can afford to potentially bleed even another round before they start to feel the implications of it. But for Complexity, that was very well played. Getting onto the site and using the lockdown to create space was huge. And even then, Gen.G, oh my gosh, ohai is able to get one, but it gets traded out. AGM gets into the action as well as goes aggressively. He's able to get two. Looking to push the matter further, but player one catches him through the cage and is going to get the info from the northwest.
Bro, this is the complexity that we were talking about. Who does that? Who tailwinds in your safety net? You use your safety net to go in, updraft, and cook up a storm. And because ohai saw so much information, the players on the B site were able to push through B main, find the party that they were missing out on in B lobby, and just take Gen.G apart. Yes, there was a TP used from Guimon, but he's like, wait, I left my friends behind. They're just the dead pinata on the ground now, candy all over the floor. And complexity, what a spicy round coming out from them. Gen.G, now the gap has been closed by 3.
Yeah, I love the way that they set that up. You mentioned it. ohai going in. Oh, no.
Wait.
Oh, no. He's able to get the look for the second and the third. Isn't able to connect with the guns, but his teammates do. Shawn shows up. He's able to take care of XP3 Win, trying to do as much damage, and well, he did, as ohai in the previous round.
Come on, bro. Win's like, yeah, you want to play with fire? Bro, I'm a Charmander. I will bring the heat. He just dives right into that site. But it was all also because of Guimon. He called that as well. He's like, we're gonna throw down a fat paranoia. It's gonna be juicy, and just trust me. The trust in this Gen.G roster opened up that site. And now complexity, they're like, damn, bro, we got something heavy on our hands, man. This is tough. So now Gen.G, they're gonna lead by 4. The half is looking a little bit better for complexity since they have 2 in the bag. But considering there's only 4 rounds that remain, they got to do a little bit more. A little bit more. They don't want a 10-2 half. Gen.G definitely felt that, and you can see now that they are answering back in kind.
All right, let's take a look at the finances here. Complexity, yeah, they're going to be able to buy. A couple of them buying down pretty low, so they're going to have guns this round. As you mentioned, we're nearing closer and closer to the end of this half. Gen.G has firm control. They also have the Empress in their back pocket so that they can work things a little bit over and try to get onto the site a bit better. No Blade Storm for either of these squads here, so it's not going to be anything insane, at least you would presume, early on. And yep, as the gates go down, there's no dashing, no tailwinding, no updrafting. A much more conservative start from both squads.
Oh, man. I love this battle between ohai and Win. I hope to see more of it because obviously, as we're seeing now, a little bit more passive play from both sides. Complexity aren't willing to risk an arm and a leg, especially after the theatrics of that round. I think some information was given away. I don't know if the exact sound cues were given away, but now they're going to start to push in. Nanoswarm will stop them temporarily. Guess who's there? It's AGM. He's going to find 3, and Gen.G cannot break through. Guess who's flanking from behind? Yep, it's complexity. They're stuck in the fish market, and soon they're going to be just like the other fish in the box. They're going to be as good as gone. Paranoia is going to help out down to 1 final player. They're chasing him down. Guimon will fall, and it's a flawless round for complexity.
It looked like, and I wish we could grab a replay of that because it looked like they had entrance, Gen.G had entrance onto the site. Yeah, there was a nanoswarm there, but Win tries dashing past it, and it looked like he hit the back of somebody. I believe it was Guimon. I'm not sure who it was. And the thing is, Gen.G, it was MkaeL, okay. But they set that up that way. You saw Win early on give the operator over to Guimon, knowing that he was going to make an aggressive play and hopefully keep the operator in safer hands, but he got caught. They just like fumbled the play there, and it was just sitting ducks. As you mentioned, they absolutely got mowed over. A flawless round for complexity. Gen.G looking to make something happen over at A. Sharky gets taken out early on, but ohai trades it out.
Oh, the paranoia is actually not going to be as effective as they had hoped. Guimon was hoping that there was a little bit more action there. MkaeL will stop the push from XP3. Now it's down to a 3v3, but, you know, complexity, of course, as we know them to be, they can't sit still. They don't know the definition of the term, as we already see AGM in a prime position to stop any pushes through B main. This is going to give complexity enough information to say, okay, action on the A site has subsided. We've given up the mid, but there's an alarm bot to give us some information if they decide to go that way. So now Jonah P, the first contact point here, is expecting action towards the middle. And as a result, he wants to get into a position to take a 50. But guess who's there? The firing squad on the opposite side! And they were in animation for utility. Guimon had a dark cover. He had something. He was going to set up a play. Oh, that's so unfortunate. Great presence of mind play there from Complexity. AGM comes in to save the day as well. A solid round from the boys in blue.
That was just unfortunate timing, right? Like under any other circumstance, Jonah P swings around that corner and he's staring at two people from Gen.G with guns trained right on him. But the timing was perfect for him. A slower start than what we saw on map 1, but plays like that are what make Jonah P so electric. Complexity steal another round away. We were talking about potentially I mean, pretty unlikely, but a 12-0 or more likely a 10-2 Now we're having an entirely different conversation, Simo.
Definitely started out rough, but once Complexity got the wind under their sails, they've definitely found a lot more opportunities. And I just want to see more Charmander battles. You know, I just want to see more Pokemon. Like the fact that just want to see more of that. Ohai win, give it to me. Give me some more action. But of course, this round before us, a little bit slower. MkaeL sitting in Sabrosa. Jonah P's gonna find him from range. That is such a sour position to be in for Gen.G. They give up so much control. I'm assuming Complexity are saying, okay, we're anticipating this. Let's have Jonah P push up. And he finds a lot of information, which I'm assuming he cleared out with the Owl Drone, but now they're coming in towards this A site.
Yeah, XP3 gets pushed back. Ohai somehow lands that shot onto Shawn and dashes away to safety. It looked like Complexity is still going to want to make situation happen. Here on the site, XP3 able to take care of win. Guimon with the spike. Looked like he tapped it, but in a 5v2, there are not a ton of options to make that a 5v1. Guimon's going to get taken out. Another flawless round for Complexity. They have roared back to keep this half interesting.
Yeah, it was looking rough. I imagined a world where Gen.G were in full control, and it definitely felt that way. There was, what, 3 gun rounds in a row where Complexity were saving the weapons? Sorry, no, that was 2 gun rounds in a row, and on the third one, they found the defuse. But nevertheless, it's still a difficult position to be in. You're down by 5, you find success in 1, and kudos to Complexity for taking it round by round. Once we move on to the second half, last round of regulation here, 7-5, 6-6, whatever. We'll have to see how the defense is from Complexity if they're going to be able to stave off the ridiculous aggression from Complexity.
Gen.G look to have made it onto the site. Ohai with the frenzy spots one, not able to take care of him, but XP3 is. Shawn and Win join the action as they drop 2 apiece. As Complexity's just down to 3 members left. However, Jonah P, who else? Keeping things interesting. You see the lockdown has been used as Sharky's able to take care of Win. Gen.G just down to 2 members left as they try to continue to fight for the site. And no, Gen.G just down to 1, and it's MkaeL on the outside of the lockdown looking in, has a good idea of where one of them is, but the problem is all of Complexity at this point know where he is. They're going to swing at the exact same time. Ladies and gentlemen, I cannot believe we're saying this. Complexity have brought it to the end of the half at 6 apiece.
Okay, statistically, Complexity, of the 3 games recorded on record on the open qualifier, sorry, in the first strike open qualifier, the attacking side has never been beneficial to Complexity. However, against T1, that was a different story. They had way more success against T1 on the attack than they did on the defense. But let's have a look at some of these replays powered and sponsored by GoPuff. Man, that Charmander play was spicy. Win almost finds the 3rd one there, but he runs out of knives. And this play was so important as they all get stuck. The tailwind, that is the worst thing that could happen to a Jett. Just think about it. You're trying to tailwind in and you get blocked by your teammate. Every time I've seen that happen, the team pays the price heavily for it. But actually, more Charmander plays as Win goes vertical. The paranoia helps out. And Jonah P will fall down to the 4v5 for Complexity.
The ever-important pistol round. Ohai still a factor here. Has a classic, but still has something to work with. Meanwhile, Guimon gets one, but is traded out. Complexity looking to push the matter over by A. Gen.G continues to funnel their way in. They've got a couple of members on the site, and they have more coming. Complexity, they've got it. They're going to have a hard time breaking through this here.
Still gonna try nevertheless. Win down below. Does get traded out down to the 2v3. Doable. The spike still needs to be planted. Defense coming in from the heaven side, and Shawn located towards a main. Time has now begun to tick. They know that they're relatively close within range on the site. They haven't pulled off of the site. That's at least all the information that they know. But ohai decides to bring the issue over to Gen.G, and now it's down to the 1v2. Complexity in a little bit of a tough spot. They know exactly where he is, but AGM still alive. Down to the 1v1, has to reload the clip, tries to duck and dive. Gen.G win the pistol, and they'll start the round off, the half off, sorry.
And Complexity made that interesting when it really looked like they might not be able to, right? Like Gen.G had the numbers advantage, they had positioning, they had pressure points coming from different areas across the map, but Complexity was able to win a couple of really important gunfights to drop that down to a 1v1, which is probably the last or second to last thing that I expected happening in that situation. So huge kudos to Complexity for keeping it as close as it is. It looks like they are going to be forcing up a little bit. Jonah's going to be bringing a Guardian in. You see Stingers and Spectres across the board, and then one measly Classic. Oh no, he upgraded as well. Complexity not willing to give up a round.
What if we just see the same thing again? Gen.G win 5 in a row, and then Complexity start to play with our emotions and boot up Roller Coaster Tycoon 2 and build us an entire ride of a half. I'd imagine that could be the story here once again, but early looks at this round. Gen.G, Shawn is going to be in a great position.
Oh.
Or not. I mean, the graveyard's not exactly very comfortable, but that's where he'll be for the time being. Down to the 4v5. And this B-side hit is the slow-moving death ball, as XP3 will be the contact point in the middle.
Oh, Gonan gets tagged up so badly through the smoke. He's just down to 6 health left. Meanwhile, player 1 is able to take care of XP3. Members of Gen.G have made their way over onto B on a very strong defensive position. Meanwhile, the rest of their team are a bit more spread out, but they've got Complexity and a Sanders here. Complexity is going to have to, with their 4 personnel, are going to have to try to push their way out, but player 1 does it again.
Bro.
Sharky and AGM taken out.
Why do you swing like that? Like you're like a couple of dominoes just waiting to be pushed over. It's all down to Jonah P. He's got a Guardian. Recon Bolt's going to help spot out who's in the back side. He's going to play that accordingly, but he doesn't... Oh, wait, he can still plant this. Wait a second. This is doable. Spike being planted, and Gen.G are waiting for the push in. It's all down to Jonah P. Shot's going to be good onto 1. Almost gets the ace. That was a little closer than I think Gen.G would have liked. But despite the force up now being lost by Complexity, they still make it incredibly expensive for Gen.G.
Yeah, Jonah P with a Guardian, making that investment worthwhile. And already getting on the board and getting warmed up more and more. 11 and 8. For Complexity here. Complexity just down 2 rounds, but again, you kind of expected... Well, actually, it's tough to say that, right? They forced up, they brought a little bit more firepower to him, and it dropped down to a 1v1 at the very end there. Yes, off of Jonah P's heroics, but it was spicy nonetheless. The important thing to note from that AGM, 1 point away from getting the lockdown. Jonah P 1 point, or excuse me, not 1 point away, has the Hunter's Fury as well, so they're going to have a couple of ultimates here in the near future. Gen.G, however, on the defending side, looking to continue to build onto that momentum. Win certainly going to help out with stuff like that.
We have to remind ourselves that considering the force-up Complexity, not capable of really bringing a whole lot to this gunfight. One way here for Win, so he can see if they decide to push in. And to be fair, you're asking for a death sentence, but they actually pull him off with the paranoia, and that's going to give Complexity a little bit more space. We're now looking to see how AGM decides to play this. He's in a very cheeky spot. Shots are going to be good from Win, but Sharky with the flick! XP3 is going to help out down to the 2v3, and they're just going to continue to mow him down one at a time! XP3 tries to escape, but it's all down to Sharky. A 1v2 Recon Bolt, maybe looking to try to spot him out, but he's going to reposition. Ah, he's made noise. That's unfortunate. He's dropped down. They know where he is. But he's going to reposition. The amount of time that he can buy himself is not much. 30 seconds left on the clock. Maybe looking for some of that heaven control, but that's exactly where Gen.G are headed. Oh, sees one. Spray won't connect. Does injure Shawn. Shawn still survives. Gen.G lead by 3, gun round upon us. If Complexity don't win this one, we're going to be staring down a very scary situation for Complexity.
I think the other problem there was that he didn't have the spike, right? Like Sharky, if he had the spike, he could maybe do something, but the members of Gen.G knew exactly where the spike was. They could hold that down, and then in a 2v1, I mean, she was, for all intents and purposes, taken care of. Gen.G continued to pile onto that lead. They're continuing to create some distance, right? Establish some separation between them and Complexity. Complexity here, they're going to have full guns across the board. Win only bringing in a classic, but he's got that Blade Storm, which, of course, right on time, is used. We've seen what the Blade Storm can do, especially at the hands of Win historically. Yes, last map notwithstanding, Win is constantly just on the verge of a highlight play time and time again.
He's woken up. That Haven map was definitely a little rough for him. Every time he looked for a play, he started to heat up near the end when they were on the attacking half for Gen.G, but it wasn't enough. They had already bled too many rounds. This one, a little bit more even, a little bit more space to work with. You lose a round, okay, reset. You still have more to work with. And considering Gen.G has started off incredibly hot, it gives him a lot more to work with. So now that the spike is being planted, it's going to be up to Gen.G to retake the site. They were playing very passive towards the B site, so now they're forced to try to reposition.
Gen.G go aggressive, and they're able to take care of the lurker as both of them are starting to funnel over. The problem is there's one member, yes, who's behind them. It's XP3. XP3 is able to take care of Omen. Win goes up with the Blade Storm this time, makes it sing as he's taken out. However, Jonah P trades it right back, a 3v3, as the lockdown continues to tick away.
Ohai was so pivotal to keeping Jonah P alive. They're watching the exit here for player one, but the, of course, lockdown has now dissipated. Recon Bolt's going to spot one out. Oh, Jonah P. 5 seconds remaining on this spike. Complexity have to run away, and unfortunately, AGM's going to be the only one that cannot escape. MkaeL will try to play point on the exit frags. Actually almost loses his own neck, but an important round for Complexity. They take it back, and now we're back within 2.
2 rounds away, or excuse me, yes, 2 rounds separating these two squads. Complexity getting a very important one there, and the thing is, it was heroics the entire way, right? That round was not easy. It took an important flank to take care of things. It took ohai anchoring down. It took Jonah P lighting up the kill feed yet again. So it wasn't easy by any means. Now Gen.G's not going to have much as far as guns to work with at all. I believe I saw 3 pistols and maybe a little bit more firepower, but not a ton to work with. Gen.G's got to be real careful here. They're on the cusp of potentially giving up more than just this round, depending on how the finances shake out.
Information tells them at least somebody is grabbing that alt orb, and the smoke will help out and deny some of that vision. Tripwire as well, so they're prepared for this A side hit. And the Hunter's Fury on the side of Jonah P is just trying to find a couple of targets. We'll see if he's able to land the mark. The Hunter's Fury is really causing a lot of problems for Gen.G, but Win sneaks in, upgrades the weapon, and now he's got them stuck. The spike is still being planted, but it's a 4v4 that is very doable for Gen.G. Complexity are stuck down in hell. They're trying to get a little bit more space. They are causing a ruckus here from Gen.G. Gimon will find 1 pick, and now Complexity are funneling out of the site, and they find at least 1 pick to give them a little bit more space, but still the retake continues.
As Sharky's efforts causing serious problems as he's 3 on the board, and XP3 finishes it off. Win was on the flank, and he got taken care of. Complexity, you talked about them causing ruckus. That was exactly what they needed to steal that round away. Now 2 in a row for them.
Wow. Just when we think like Complexity are just playing with our emotions here, man. Like Gen.G, they have these like convincing rounds, and Complexity fall apart 1 member at a time, and then they just switch gears. And they really throw Gen.G off balance. But this time, I think we're going to be looking at maybe a little bit of a different look. The operator here from Win, he is smoked off. Maybe he's still going to send a pre-fire shot. He does. It does not tag anyone. And he actually almost eats a shock dart for free. So they had anticipated a potential look from the op. And so Gen.G are just trying to play the best possible defense that they can, constantly rotating their members. Presence towards the A site last round. This time it's the B site with Gimon playing point. Going to be lurking back between the defense spawn from the B side to the A side if need be. Complexity just going to cause a ruckus on the B side and likely hit the A side fast, but huynh is going to be ready with the op.
Oh, he's going to get a chance at something. The paranoia just narrowly tags him, and he's forced to back off yet again. And he might even get cleaned up down to 36 health, but it doesn't matter. That's not what Complexity wants. What Complexity wants is control of the A site, and that's exactly what they've established. Player 1 gets taken out down in hell at the hands of Sharky through the wall, and Complexity are working to plant the spike.
Bro, that was twice. That's like 2 rounds in a row now where they just paranoia huynh off that angle, and they can't let huynh have space. Now he's forced to play retake with his team. Jonah P is going to be causing the flank, but they do see him coming from behind. Now they have to reposition, and huynh like, damn, we can't even have any safety in our own spawn. We've got a lurking Jonah P. Guimon is trying to set up a lurk of his own, but he can't lurk when the rest of the team isn't safe. So they're trying to pinch him in and maybe play for exits here, but Complexity have gotten so much control. Look at how far Gen.G have pulled off of the site.
And Jonah P seemingly sniffing something out, but it's XP3 who gets the best of Guimon. Omen against Omen. XP3 wins that. AGM does as well, but Shawn gets one. It's a far hill to climb, and he eventually gets taken out anyway. AGM gets the best of him. We are knotted up at 9, ladies and gentlemen. This one is going down to the wire.
Tied up. Eco round coming out for Gen.G. And then imagine on the Eco, we can see some spicy stuff. That is where teams can play a little bit riskier if they want. They have a lot more they can give up, right? They don't really have a lot of weapons. It's not really a scary sight for them. So, but the bleeding of rounds has been nullified from Complexity. It's 3 rounds in a row for Gen.G and then 3 rounds in a row from Complexity. But man, these site hits, it's been, the rounds one have been the A side hit and the B side hit. And on the B side hit, they had a lockdown to push them out and contact points to help the flanks. And then on the A side hits, they've got flanks and they get on the site with the paranoia to push huynh off. So these executes have been phenomenal from Complexity.
They have been indeed, and that's exactly what brings us to this point. Once again, knotted up at 9 apiece. Gen.G had a very strong start to this map, but Complexity have responded in kind, and XP3 is already able to get 2 ohai, gets 1 as well as XP3 lights up the kill feed yet again. 1 member left on the side of Gen.G. Player 1 with 19 health, severely outnumbered, severely outgunned. Not a ton of HP to work with here. The spike is also down. It's just continuing to mount. A difficult situation for the remaining member of Gen.G.
Complexity now lead by 1. My heart's beating a little faster. I'm tempted to yell boom headshot, but I'm going to leave that for that YouTube video. But for Complexity, imagine 2-0ing Gen.G, a team that has been historically in the top 5 discussion since the inception of the roster. As Bach said earlier on in the pregame, everything that we know about Valorant, especially the standings, especially about the rankings, to a certain degree can be thrown out the window. Yes, we know TSM and Cloud9 are still the rock stars that we know them to be, but outside of that, there's still a lot of question marks across the board. And we're seeing that exact discussion happen here and happen now.
Here.
huynh has operator. Oh my gosh, he knows exactly where one of the players is. He's pinged him out, and he's going to be able to hold that tight angle. His members begin to rotate over. Oh yeah, he knows exactly where he is. That dart's going to give his position away. However, he's forced to back up for just a second, but is able to reestablish presence of that line.
You need the owl drone here. You have to use it. You have no idea what's going on the opposite side. You've been able to have huyhn's number every single time with the paranoia, but that's not here. Unless they take it from the bench. Oh, huyhn's a shot. He listens. Oh, no, huynh! No! And the lockdown now pushes them back. Gen.G are rotating from the ends A site. That was their shot to land and their pick to find.
MkaeL, one of the remaining defending members of Gen.G, isolated alone in the back of the boathouse, and he's not going to be around for long as ohai takes care of him, but the reinforcements of Gen.G have arrived. Guimon taking care of Sharky. Gen.G fighting to get back on this site. You hear the neural theft has been used to give information over to Gen.G. Shawn trying to blind fire through the boathouse and see if he can get any information. He's going to opt to use the Empress here. This is around. Gen.G are not willing to give up, at least without a severe fight. They're all going to be pushing it from, say, side. Complexity not going to be playing any flanks or anything spicy like that. It's just going to be good against good. Player 1 gets taken out, however, but Shawn trades it back. The Empress continuing to sing as it drops down to a 2v2. Shawn goes in aggressive. He knows where one of the players are, and the fire from his teammate gives him the other one, but he's got to get shot in the back. He knew where he was. Grimon gets taken out as well. Complexity hold fast.
Okay, even if they found the pick back site there in the cave, bro, there was 7 seconds left. You would have needed to have one player looking for frags and the other trying to defuse the spike. Complexity, this time no lurks. They just hold on to the site. But Gen.G had already lost too many members in that process. If Win finds that pick, he stops the push completely, right? That's it. Win backs away, he tailwinds out, but he dies trying to escape. So unfortunate there for Gen.G, and now Complexity on the precipice, on a 2-round lead, on the eco for Gen.G, or the soft buy rather. It's not a full buy, but it's a soft one. And Complexity could be at map point and series point after this one.
The important thing to remember is that this is not an elimination match. This is for top 8, but the loser's going to get one more crack at things. Jonah P once again. The guy has been insane like clockwork this entire map. Getting the opening frag again. Gen.G just down to 4.
Well, starts out well for Gen.G, but that's just to even those odds. It's a 4v4 in this A site hit. XP3 is going to teleport in, gather some information, or really just commit to a positioning play because he's in there. Now he's going to help the rest of the team push in. They're really just taking them down one at a time. It's all down to Win. He's at least going to find one, but Complexity were already looking down that way. So, best case scenario, I never thought I would have said this, for Gen.G is overtime. That is the best case scenario for Gen.G. Complexity have really impressed me, not only in this series, but against the T1 series as well. I was really critical of their aggressive plays, but it's really working out. It's really panning out. They've won 6 in a row, Doug. 6 in a row, and are sitting at map and series point.
Well, and remember, Simo, when we first casted the match of this group a couple of days ago, the conversation was, this is a fight for second place, right? Complexity, are they going to be able to do it? Is T1 going to be able to do it? But all of a sudden, we're having an entirely different conversation about Complexity potentially being the ones to come out at the top of their group. It looks like we are in a bit of a pause, folks. We'll get back into the action as soon as we possibly can. But again, I want to take this moment, this brief break, to kind of explain what's going on here. Complexity have a 1-0 lead. They're on map point. They're on series point here up against Gen.G. This is not an elimination match. If you are just tuning in, the winner of this is going to secure a top 8 spot in this qualifier. The loser is still going to get a chance. They're going to get an opportunity, but they're going to have to get through T1. I am being told right now that it's actually Gen.G who has called for a tactical pause here, and that makes perfect sense. Everything is on the line here.
Yeah, unfortunately, that pause did not last very long. Felt like they needed an eternity to sit in the hyperbolic time chamber and figure things out, but they unfortunately don't get that luxury. Goku does, but not Gen.G. So now we're looking at the setup. Once again, Win and MkaeL towards this B site, but Win actually playing a little bit safer, and the paranoia doesn't push him off this time. So he's got a little bit more space to work with, so the shot's actually going to connect. We'll see if he can find the second. He can, and the third. Win answers back. It's down to XP3, and he's all by himself. Gen.G clutch the round underneath Complexity's feet.
It may not have been a full-on session in the hyperbolic time chamber, excuse me, but it was exactly what they needed. Win's heroics. This is a win that we've been waiting to see. That round was huge. You mentioned it was much more of a conservative early position. He had learned from the paranoia getting the best of him a number of different times. This time it was actually the Lear that might have been problematic, but he held fast. He waited until he got that opening pick, and then he went aggressive. And at that point, it was just serving up sashimi. Complexity got sliced apart, and it was again all at the hands of Win. So well played by him. Complexity had a set piece, right, that they wanted to pull off to try to put Gen.G away. That one didn't work. What else does Complexity have up their sleeve?
Spike towards that A site. This time Complexity are actually looking for information in lurks. The spike's not towards this B side, but AJM has got himself into a very successful position. Unfortunately, that owl drone is going to cause a little bit of a problem, but it doesn't see him.
No way.
Oh my goodness. And the camera
He's in
doesn't
the
see him
camera.
either. Guess what, player one? Good night. See you later. Oh my goodness, complexity. Solid play coming out from them. MkaeL's going to fall as well. This B side is wide open, and Gen.G are down to 3.
Yeah, AGM slipped in there undetected and was able to crack that bad boy wide open. Now Complexity's going to get onto the site. The spike is going to go down. Gen.G have to fight for this thing and or risk or really get sent down to the loser's bracket to fight for tournament life. Sharky gets taken out a very good leer by Shawn. Reyna over Reyna in that situation there, but numbers advantage still in favor of Complexity. The time is not on Gen.G's side as well. Furthermore, the lockdown's just going to buy even more time for Complexity. Once this thing goes down, it's going to be a mad dash.
They have to go in. And the only dash they have is win. And guess who's flanking? Guess who's flanking? It's Jonah! Of course it's Jonah! Gen.G are down to 2, and it's an uphill battle from here. That's going to be one player playing point. It's Shawn. It's all down to Win. Win cannot win a 1v3, but Complexity defy all odds. And they will qualify as the first seed out of their group, moving into the playoffs and secure top 8.
Off of a 2-0 sweep against Gen.G of all things. They just played that so well. Let's bring Bach back into the conversation. Bach.